Like with your crew on the radio, Lynn?
Of course, only dealing with the specifics.
I was at the Mid-Ohio race earlier this year listening to Al Holbert's crew radio. They would say, Al, this is your situation. He'd say, thank you. He said, you have this much of a lead. He said, thank you. Thank yous to everything. No comments, just thank yous. Now here you see the 86 car, Jochen Mass in second place, about to get a look at Elliott Forbes Robinson, and he goes right around with a skid up front. Was that Wolleck? Hard into the... It is Wolleck. The car has crashed horribly. Bob Wolleck has flipped, spun, and torn off all the bodywork. You see him moving around in the car, but he is sitting on his head. Bob Wolleck's right arm moving around there. He is apparently digging on those belts, trying to get himself unhooked. Lynn, you've been through a crash somewhat like this. You had to deal with fire as well, though, and I imagine your first instinct is to just try to get out of the car.
You definitely need to get out of the car, and upside down it's hard because when you release the belts, your body weight is now you're like in a parachute. You're hanging upside down, so it's very hard to wriggle out.
A tremendous crash. You see the right rear tire there has absolutely exploded. We can't speculate as to whether or not that might have happened before or after the wreck, but that tire is absolutely gone. You see that the left side rear tire is pretty much intact. We saw that the left front was as well.
And of course the right rear would be the loaded tire, because that was turn one, which is a left-hand high-speed turn.
So apparently Bob Wolleck had a tire let go in a big way as he made the left-hand turn from the start-finish line and across under the bridge to start uphill, and it just went away and threw him violently into the barriers.
I was just thinking that there was no warning. I mean, it just went. I mean, he came out of turn 11. We watched that when he came out of turn 12.
Now you see them taking him out of the car. There in the background, you see the IMSA quick response vehicle. It's a Porsche 928, that is, capable of speeds of over 170 miles an hour for just this situation, to get a doctor, a trauma expert, to the scene of an accident to take care of that driver and get him stabilized until the heavy-duty first aid equipment can get there.
That's an excellent addition to IMSA, and I'm so glad to see them execute it and get there, because that's absolutely necessary thing.
You saw the okay sign from the corner worker there. He is apparently okay, but Bob Wolleck is very stunned.
I think, you know, he was sort of, oh, look at...
And here is Jochen Mass's car. He is the second place car. He's pulling up at trackside to see how his teammate Bob Wolleck is doing.
That is
I have
incredible.
Never seen
I have never seen that
before.
either. I haven't. And
he's sacrificing his position to see how his teammate is doing.
Bob was sort of slumped over. Maybe could have been just from being totally winded. I hope that there's some...
Now they use the fireman's jacket to provide some shade as the first aid workers take a close look at Bob Wolleck, our leader in this race until a titanic accident in turn number 1.
I'm wondering if that could have also been a signal that the corner workers used that an ambulance was required to get there.
Well, they're all looking back down the race course, so I assume we'll get an ambulance. I'm sure they want to take him away and take a close look at Bob Wolleck, no matter what his status. There you see one of the workers with a red cross on her jersey, one of the nurses staffing the infield hospital here. Now let's take a look. Now we'll just get a quick look at what happened to Bob Wolleck. Look ahead as Mass approaches turn 1. And we will see here, there.
Definitely the right rear just let go. The car came sideways and around, and the right rear just let go. He had absolutely no right rear traction at all.
Now we'll take a look from a camera up the hill, and we'll see if we can get a closer look as Bob Wolleck enters turn 1. Look right down there under the bridge, and Bob Wolleck will come into your picture from the right-hand side. There he comes. By then,
the car was just launched. It was just flinging up in the air, and then it hit the embankment there. That was an incredible hit. You know, that was probably equal if you had hit a cement wall.
A monumental impact, and you see the result to the Goodrich Porsche 962 of Bob Wolleck. We'll be back with whatever assessment of his condition we can get for you in a moment. The 962 driven by Bob Wolleck. Now we have a very special angle of this race from our in-car. Here is what happened to Bob.
I hope we get to see this twice, because this time you're going to just look where the car was going. You see that shake, that shudder, and then the rear end comes out. But the next time I want you to watch his hands, because the instinctive thing that he did was to try to collect it. He still tried to save that.
Okay, there's where the camera obviously became disabled in this tremendous crash suffered by Bob Wolleck. We'll bring the tape back one more time now. And Lynn, your comment about his driving.
Just watch the lower right corner. You can see his glove and see his hands, and he's perfectly calm here, perfectly, has very stable on the, grip on the steering wheel there. He's just starting to turn it in now, and that happens. When the rear end came out, he completely went to a reverse lock and tried to save the car.
Turning to the right, you see the gauges light up as the oil pressure and the engine go haywire. Now, obviously, a tire or a suspension problem in the right rear threw Bob into a tremendous spin. Well, we are approaching mid-race, and that makes it time for our mid-race report. Under caution here at Sears Point.